Welcome back to another episode of Recovery Life. My name is Latoya and we are back. Hi. So I have two new guests on our show today and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves to you. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Can you tell me who you are and a little bit about you?
Sure. I'm Kristine Schlichting. I own Hopewell Health Solutions, which is a outpatient facility in Glastonbury, and we have locations also in West Hartford, East Hampton, West Hartford, and then soon Westbrook.
Wow, that is fantastic. I'm going to come back to you on that. Yeah. And who do you have here? What's your name?
My name is Gayle. I'm a LCSW. I'm one of the lead clinicians for one of Hopewell's intensive outpatient programs.
Okay, well, welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in?
Sure.
Yes.
So I actually started by myself. I think now it's about 14 years ago. I'm a psychologist by trade. So I've been a licensed psychologist for the last 30 years. And previous to that, I had worked in hospitals. I had worked in different kinds of centers. And I went into practice by myself. And I basically grew this practice organically over 14 years. And I would say probably around 6 years or so ago, I really started to want to do something else. I have always had counseling and then also med management within my practice, but I really wanted to provide another level of services for clients in the community. I really saw clients struggling with a lot of issues. So, significant anxiety, depression, kids too, family issues, addiction, trauma, and weekly therapy is great as a vehicle for probably around 80% of people's issues for the most part, but for 20 to 30% or so, people need something more than just weekly therapy. And I was trying to sort of see like what else is out there for clients and what we could develop within Hopewell. And we are actually the only private practice in Connecticut that has our own IOP, PHP programs. And a lot of people don't know what IOP and PHP programs are, but it is sort of this in-between world between individual counseling and inpatient or residential, so that people live at home, they go to school, but they get 4 days a week, 3 hours a day of intensive services. For PHP, it's 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. So, and it allows us to give really tailored concierge treatment for clients and really help get them exactly what they need, get them involved in different routines, develop really clear coping strategies, give them groups, give them individual counseling, medication management, family therapy, all the good things.
Okay, that's a lot of information. Yeah. So I don't want them to be like overwhelmed. So, so when you say that, how do you cater or tailor to each individual person what the outcome would be like? Do you sit down with them and do a treatment plan?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's a very long, assessment process. It's a very intensive intake assessment that we do. Do you want to talk about sort of what a typical intake assessment might be?
Yeah, so typically we talk about all facets of a client's life. So we start off with the basic demographics and things like that, but we ask about like what life was like for them growing up, family history of mental health or substance use issues, their own, trials and tribulations with mental health, school, intellectual delays. We talk about medications, if they have any medical issues, and we talk about like what their family life is like right now, what home life is like, school, career, like everything. We kind of go through the whole gamut to get a really good picture of what's going on, like what's brought them to this point where they're needing treatment now.
That is fantastic. Honestly, that is fantastic. So when you have someone who comes in and you're tailoring this treatment plan or whatever it is they're going to do, how quickly do they get comfortable sharing with you what their needs are? How do you find the way to get the needs from them?
I think it happens very quickly because really typically people will come to us who have been in treatment. So typically they've already had a med provider. They don't have to have had meds before, but typically they will have been treated previously, and they will typically have seen a therapist. Usually it's 5, 6, 10 therapists throughout their lifetimes that they've seen, and tried different kinds of things. So a lot of times by the time somebody comes to us, you know, they're ready for something different, and we do these intake assessments all day long. So we sort of know how to read people and what kind of questions to ask. And it's a team assessment, so it's not just the therapist or the psychologist doing the assessment. There's also an entire medical team that also is part of that assessment. Okay. And then we sit down together and we look at where this person is at, and then we make a good recommendation in terms of what kind of treatment would be the best treatment. So really when they come to see us, they're not just seeing one person, they're seeing a team of people, which is fantastic. Really different than going to see like a typical just outpatient therapist.
See, that's what I wanted to know, because that makes a big difference, the word team, because each person has different needs, and we can't, even though we would love to be able to handle the whole thing, we cannot. It's overwhelming for one person. You have the psychologist, you have the psychiatrist, you have the nurses. Yep. So I know that you were saying you're very excited about what's going on. We were talking a little bit beforehand. What's your favorite part of the day when you first start your day and you get there? What is it like for you? What does that look like?
In terms of when I start my day as a whole, or like when I start the group? The group. The group. Well, I love just getting to see everybody, and especially now that we're a few weeks into the program, you know, the folks coming in, they're all saying hello to each other, they're saying hello to me, everyone's like, oh, how was your weekend? You know, it's just kind of like a little community, you know, and it's nice to see everybody come back together again. But my genuinely favorite part of the whole group is typically at the end we do like a little group processing, where people get to share things. They can bring things to the table that maybe we didn't cover in group in the lesson and stuff, and they can ask for feedback from the other clients or support, and it's really lovely to see.
That is fantastic. Yeah. So you said an overall review. So just in case, it's like a redo. Like, did you miss anything? Because sometimes people are nervous during groups, right? And they do better one-on-one. How are you able to identify like when someone is kind of uncomfortable in a group setting and they need more one-to-one?
Yep. So there's a lot of different things that we can do because social anxiety is really, really common, especially since COVID. So, and actually in our teen and tween IOPs, we've taken kids who never went to school, you know, since COVID. So we're talking years since COVID not being able to attend school, and we've been successfully able to get them into our IOPs, attending our IOPs, and then getting them back into school successfully. So and we've done that with adults too. So we do a graduated approach where we meet the client where they are. So if that client, and there are clients that are very comfortable with virtual therapy, but if you have social anxiety, virtual therapy works against you and actually makes that social anxiety worse. So we understand that, but we also want to move people into a place where they're fully functioning out in the world and they are able to get out of the house. So we work with them on whatever that graduated approach can look like, whether that means that they come 1 hour a week, whether that means sometimes even they come when nobody is there, and we'll put them into that group room with a therapist just to get them acclimated to the room and to the surroundings. So it's sort of like we assess wherever that patient is, and then what do we have to do so that we can all work together to get that person back, you know, and comfortable, and then in front of people, and then functioning. But we do it all on whatever that person's schedule is, because the most important thing is that it's successful.
That's awesome. What made you decide that this was your heart? Like, because this is like our heart, right? This is something we breathe. It's not, the only reason they call it a job is because it's in the dictionary.
Right.
But for us,
Right.
it's what we breathe.
Right.
What made you decide that this was where you wanted to go?
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
that's a really
lot.
good question. So I explained that all of these IOPs really are super personal to me. They're really my babies, you know, and I treat them really carefully and with tremendous amount of care and nurturance. But I'm older, so I'm in my mid-50s. So
That is not older. I am too.
Okay. It is what it is, right? I embrace it. It's all right. It's all good. But I remember groups, you know, and I was trained at University of Wisconsin at Madison, and that is the group place of the United States. I mean, where people were trained, we were like intensely trained in groups, and I just saw the benefit of the groups. Groups are entirely different than individual therapy. It is not the same thing, and they do two very different things, and they both have their place. But groups, as you and I were talking, really have kind of fallen out of fashion, and I really think it's time for them to come back in because it's really what the world needs. Groups create, you know, an enormous amount of internal community work, which is self-sustaining over time. So just like AA meetings or, you know, all of these things that we know work really well, church, synagogue, temple, you know, all of these things where people are meeting in groups and creating something that's greater than themselves. So that is, and that can happen in mental health, and it needs to happen in mental health. People, you know, show more of themselves. They develop relationships, not just with the therapist and not just with themselves, but with each other. And those relationships that they create with each other, we want those to sustain over time. We want people to walk away with a community that they can call on, that they're not completely I always say people are getting better when you're not calling me. When you're not calling your therapist, and when you don't need therapy, that you want to come to therapy, but you don't need therapy because you have a community, you have your people, you have an ability to create that health yourself, then we're doing the right job.
And I 1,000,000,000% agree with your thoughts. Because the groups are amazing. And if they want more after that, then they can do one-on-one if it's something they didn't want to share on that level in a group. But it creates unity on top of it, so they don't feel so isolated and alone in their thoughts. They're already alone in their thoughts enough, right?
100%, yeah. And we do give individual therapy while they are in IOP too, and PHP. So they still get individual work and a very tailored treatment, but 100%, there's no way to combat this loneliness. You know, we're in a loneliness crisis right now, really, where people feel incredibly alone and that they're the only ones that feel that way. And whether that's addiction or suicidality or depression, anxiety. And when we get that out in the public and people recognize, hey, you know what? As beautiful as she is and as outgoing as she is, she might have anxiety.
Right.
You know, but so, and that is just when somebody sees that and somebody else who they think that everything is going fine, they feel the relief because they know they're not crazy and there's not something wrong with them, that we all have these things. We all have these things within ourselves, and that doesn't make anything wrong with us. It just means we have to do something different.
And that is so true. We all have our own shortcomings sometimes, right? And like anxiety, I've been doing my show over a decade, and each time I'm going to be nervous before the camera rolls. It's just a natural thing to have when you meet somebody new, or if I met you 10 years ago, right? It's natural. So when you have somebody coming into a new situation or a new environment, it's kind of good to have other people that take the focus off of me. Like 3 is great when you go out to lunch, right?
Yeah.
But 2 is a lot of pressure on me to just talk to you, right? So it's a lot better to have deflection. like someone else that can talk for a minute if I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I didn't get the confidence yet to talk yet. So tell me what you've noticed about your part. Like, what have you noticed as something about yourself doing what you do, doing this on a daily basis? How has that brought you to light?
Well, I think that the more I focus on being like a very like genuine, authentic version of myself, like the clients really respond to that, and it makes for a more open and honest conversation about certain things, and that's been hard for me. You know, I think I hide a little bit behind like the clinical lingo and the, you know, all of that stuff, and it's been like my own journey to kind of break out of that and be more like myself. And whenever I do it, it shows, I think, in the group energy and stuff.
Because we feel it.
Yeah.
There was a psychiatrist that I worked with who had she never drank a beer, let alone know what an addict feels like, right? And she said, why don't they connect with me? And I said, because you don't connect to pain with them. And if you just share a little piece, it doesn't even have to be you directly of yourself. And she shared a story about her uncle, and lo and behold, she connected with them. Not all of them, but it helped, right?
Yeah.
Your true self is who they want to see, right?
You're 100% true about that. So having trained as a psychologist, I am sort of like the opposite of what I was supposed to be trained to be, which is sort of very blank, have no expression, have no feeling, never talk about yourself. I think I'm pretty much the opposite of all of that. And I think, you know, what Victoria is talking about is 100% true. People know immediately if you are who you are, and if you're a real person, and if you care about this or not, you know, and if you care about them. And there, especially in a group, there is no hiding. So, but we all have to show up as our authentic selves in order to make this thing work, you know. And then patients are able to sort of take our lead and feel that they can be themselves too. But yeah, it's interesting as you know, having been trained as a therapist so many years ago, you know, we were trained to be totally blank, so, and to not have any expression. And that is not how I run my practice.
And that's why you're going to be successful, from me to you, because I am kind of afraid of you when you first come in and you say psychologist, and this is just my truth. That one thing about me is I'm very honest. It's like kryptonite when people do therapy on me, when I'm, you know, and then I started talking to you and I said, oh, she's not like that. You know, it's no difference than if I'm talking to you and you take notes. I want to die when people do that. Like, literally. I'm like, no, what are you writing down? I'm trying to talk to you now. Like, get out of that moment. You know, stay with me here. So it makes a difference that you're not like this, because people will connect with you. You know, and they won't even know you're helping them because they're connecting with you.
We are the biggest tool in this, in the mental health world. You know, we don't take people's blood. We're not, you know, technically medical doctors, right? We work with the mind, so we have to use ourselves, you know, and we are not blank slates. I mean, we all come with different kinds of stories and trauma and you know, strengths and resiliencies and troubles and the whole gamut. And we need to use all of it for, you know, for our clients and show up that way.
That's awesome.
Well said.
What do you get from working with such a phenomenal person? Like, literally, because I spoke to you before this and you were like in awe of the program and everything that's getting ready to happen. How do you feel now that it's actually happening and you're working with somebody who's, you said, brilliant? Yeah,
she's inspiring. I love it. Like I said, I have a background working in many different other places, and Hopewell it's very unique. I think Dr. K has brought such a wonderful concept of this private practice IOP to life, and I see all of the ways that clients respond so well to it. You know, it being such a tailored program. Very different, like, you know, we have therapists within the programs that specialize in OCD, some are in trauma, some with children, and we just offer so much, and the clients, like, they want to come to the programs. They are sad on the days they don't have the programs, you know what I mean? And it's really lovely. It's a very lovely change of pace to see, and I feel like it's largely due to, you know, Dr. K's vision, and it's come to life, and it's awesome. You know?
I hire the best, though. That's really the honest. I mean, it's not just me. It is this idea that that we're growing something larger than ourselves, you know, and it is 100% a village of support. You know, it is an amazing group of staff. It's a diverse group of staff. We all come from different places, different backgrounds, different cultures. You know, I look for diversity in my staff. I think that's super important. You have to have that. You know, I want to hire people that I can learn from, that somebody can come in and, you know, where I can figure out and I can learn something that I didn't know about before. I love that. Me too. That's what makes it so exciting. I don't want to, when I first started, I thought I should hire people that are like myself. Boy, is that wrong. Like, that's totally wrong. Like, you want to hire people that are different than you. You want to hire people that have the same work ethic and have some things that are the same, but people that have different perspectives, people that have different ideas, people that have, that's how you grow, that's how you innovate, is not having a bunch of people who are all the same, it's having a bunch of people who are different.
That's right. I was told by my mentor, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Correct.
You should always be learning something.
Yes.
Like literally, like get out of that room fast. So that is true. And so you were talking about the diversity of the program, which is, that's your heart. And you've thought this out long and hard about how to help everyone that needs help. So that way you don't ever have to say those terrible words, I don't think we're for you.
Right.
Oh, that's devastating to hear, right?
Right.
To have to say like
that's why we keep opening up new programs.
Yeah.
So like we have the women's wellness programs, which we're the only ones in the state that have a program that is just dedicated to women for IOP and soon PHP, so that women can find a place to just be together and to heal. And there's just a lot of gender-specific trauma that women really need their own space to work through that. You know, and then we have the co-occurring, you know, SUD IOP, and then also we started with the teen IOP, and then we found that we really wanted to start a tween IOP because we felt like if we could get to kids when they're younger and get them the skills that they needed, by the time they're 16, they won't be in the situation that we have seen some 16-year-olds where they're in and out of hospitals on a regular basis. We want to avoid that. We want to give people preventative therapy and treatment so that they don't end up in and out of emergency rooms and hospitals. That is the whole point of all of this, is to really avoid that, because that's not treatment when people are in and out of emergency rooms. There's no treatment in that.
So what are the hours of the program, and what time do you start? What time does the day end? What days are you open?
Yeah, so we have a lot of options. Yeah. So right now we have basically for adults, we have for Victoria's program, which is the adult co-occurring program, we have a morning section, so that's 9 to 12, and then we also have an evening section that's 5 to 8. People can also, we have a flexible options IOP so that people could do like 2 days in the morning or 2 days in the evening. And then we also for the women's program, we also have a morning option and an evening option. Yes, and then for the teens and tweens start earlier, so that's 4:30 to 7:30, and teens is 5 to 8, and that's Monday through Thursday. We are adding on hours on Friday soon, and then we are adding on PHP, which is just partial hospitalization program, starting in March, and that's going to be 6 hours.
That is fantastic.
Right.
So what is tweens? Is that 20s, early 20s? Or?
The tweens is 8 to 12.
Oh, okay, because I was like, I heard you say it earlier, and
tweens,
I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out what to call
That's cute.
them. But
So, and I know they love it too, because they're
they
like,
do
oh,
love
I got
it.
something to look forward to.
They love it. They love the program.
So teens and tweens.
Yeah.
Okay, and you want to give a little bit more about the program itself, or you want to give the address, or you want to say
Sure.
the email?
Sure. So so right now we have one facility that's in Glastonbury, but we also do virtual. So we are opening a second facility in Westbrook that should be open hopefully sometime in April, sometime around there, April, May. We're already sort of finalizing the last pieces of that. And to get in touch with us at all, it is www.hopewellhealthsolutions.com, and it's 860-946-0447.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to see? Give me what it will look like for you to 5 months from now. What would you like to say?
I love your questions. It was really good questions. I think 5 months from now we'll be fully in Westbrook. So we really see a need down near the shoreline area. There is a huge mental health need. There is a huge need for IOP, PHP services, but also just counseling and medication management as well, just really high quality services. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then we are looking at opening up other locations around Connecticut and then probably soon Massachusetts.
Wow.
So we are looking at replicating these services, opening up these facility centers that offer the outpatient services, but IOP, PHP level of services that plus from weekly therapy, where people need something, but they don't really need inpatient or residential, but you want to get ahead of it before something more significant happens. So
that's before I forget, because this is important to me. Is it referral only, or how can they?
No, people can self-refer. That's a great question.
Yeah.
People think you need to have a referral from a doctor. Absolutely not.
That's a big one, not having to have a referral.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. If you don't need a referral, this is something you definitely want to do, because we have a high level of mental health awareness and need in this area. So the fact that they don't need a referral, they can self-refer is amazing.
Yeah. And we do have parents who refer their children, even sometimes their children are in their 20s and 30s that they're concerned about. They'll call. You can always just call and talk to us, and if you have questions about mental health, and if you have questions about sort of anything, we want to be a resource for the community. We want to help. Even if we're not the ones that are going to be able to help you, we can listen to what your concerns are and give you an appropriate referral to somebody who can help you. So please, the idea is, please reach out if something is going on. Please reach out.
That is phenomenal. Self-refer.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. That's you're going to be doing great.
Yeah.
So you want to give them the email and the address and everything again?
Sure. So the address for we have several locations, but our main facility is 300 Hebron Avenue, Suite 203, and that's Glastonbury, Connecticut. And the email is HHS, so I say Harry Sally, the number 4, help, HELP @gmail.com.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you
It's been a
coming
pleasure.
today. And it went so fast, literally.
Yeah.
So you have anything you want to say before we close out?
Well, just thank you for having us. I'm really glad that we're able to bring more awareness to this program. I think Hopewell is really a gem. I think it can really help a lot of people and also help to destigmatize addiction and mental health issues. So I appreciate you having us on.
I appreciate you being here.
And for you doing this show and talking real talk about addiction and recovery and helping people get through really tough things.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've got to have you back again in 5 months.
Yeah, okay,
How about
sounds
that?
good.
Yeah, we'll do follow up and see, the new locations, because I know it's coming.
I'd love that.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I love bringing awareness to mental health and addiction services, especially when we're in such a severe need of more help and more support. I am going to be having my book signing on February 28th at 155 Montauk in New London, Connecticut, and it is going to be something phenomenal. So I will check in with you throughout the weeks to come, and I would love to see you at 155 Montauk on February 28th. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Recovery Life. Ciao.